Hello, my name is Samantha Villagomez, and I'm doing my first book talk, and this book talk is focusing on young adult literature. And in particular, it is focusing on teen issue novels. The first book I plan to talk about is called American Born Chinese by Gene Yang. Here's a cover. American Born Chinese is a little confusing at first because there are 3 stories told. The first story is about the Monkey King. It seems the Monkey King has everything that he wants, but there is something he cannot have. He wants the acceptance of the other Chinese gods, but they won't accept him because he is a monkey. He starts to change, becoming more human and less monkey, but that doesn't work. The gods still don't like him. Eventually he becomes trapped under a mountain of rocks for 500 years after attacking and fighting the other gods. The only way he can get free is to accept his monkey self and change back. But is the powerful monkey god strong enough to do the hardest thing he has to do? Now the second story is about a boy named Danny who has to go through another embarrassing and humiliating visit from his cousin Chin Ki. Every year Danny has to change schools after his cousin visits. Once he starts to feel comfortable in his new school, his cousin comes from China to visit. Danny is forced by his parents to take care of him. He embarrasses Danny in front of his friends and classmates because he acts like every terrible stereotype that Americans have about Chinese people, but it is his cousin who he says he is. His third story is about Gene Luen, who is struggling at his high school. He is American-born Chinese. His parents were born in China, but they met in the United States, and he was born in the United States. At his mostly white school, he is teased by the other students because of his race. He wants so much to fit in at his school that he tries different things like perming his hair and getting a non-Asian girlfriend. When he is told by the most popular boy in school that he shouldn't date the girl he likes, he ends up rejecting his best friend who is FOB or fresh off the boat from Taiwan. But will this get Jing Wang what he wants? And what are all 3 of these stories doing in the same book? And are they really 3 different stories at all? The second book I'm planning to talk about is called Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson, and I have it on my Kindle. It's the first morning of high school. I have 7 new notebooks, a skirt I hate, and a stomachache. I'm the first pickup of the day and have to decide where to sit on the bus. I sit in front, hoping to make eye contact with one of my friends. That is, if any of them have decided to talk to me yet. The bus picks up students in groups of 4 or 5. As they walk down the aisle, people who were my middle school lab partners or gym buddies glare at me. This is what I have been dreading. As they leave the last stop, I am the only person sitting alone. At school, the 9th graders are herded into the auditorium. I don't have anyone to sit with. The kids behind me laugh at something so loud. I know they're laughing about me. I turn around, only to see Rachel, my ex-best friend, at the center of the crowd. This is the girl who suffered through brownies with me, who taught me how to swim, who understood about my parents. If there's anyone in the entire galaxy I'm dying to tell what really happened, it's Rachel. Her eyes meet mine for a second. I hate you, she mouths silently before turning back to her friends and laughs. Rachel actually hates me, but then so does everyone else. Who can blame them? I'm the loser that busted the biggest party of the summer by calling the cops. If only I could tell Rachel why I made the call, but obviously I can't. And if I can't tell Rachel, I can't tell anyone. The way I see it, if I have to keep something this painful to myself, why bother talking at all? Now, the third book I'm planning to speak about is called Cut by Patricia McCormack. Can you remember how it started? Callie's psychologist asked her. She remembers exactly. It was at the last cross-country meet, right around the 4-mile mark. Everyone had passed her except a girl from the other team. They were the only ones left in the last stretch of the course. Their shadows passed along the ground slantwise. Slowly they merged. Then her shadow passed Callie's. Then she was gone. Callie couldn't even picture her anymore. What really scared her was that she couldn't remember the moment when she stopped seeing her. And Callie knew then that if she couldn't see the girl, no one could see her. She was still running, but now she was off the path. heading away from the finish line, past the cars in the parking lot, the flagpole, and the home of the lion sign, until somehow she was at the entrance to her family's development. Cully ran home and let herself in. She leaned against the door. "I'm home," she said to no one. On the kitchen table was a roll of batting, a glue gun, a dolly, a 1997 Crafty Kitchens catalog. Next to the catalog was a special craft knife with the word X-Acto on the handle. She lifted it up. She tested on the dolly and a piece of ribbon. It cut them without much pressure. She placed the blade next to the skin on her palm. What happened next was that a perfect straight line of blood ballooned from under the edge of the blade. The line grew into a long, fat bubble, a lush red bubble that got bigger and bigger. She watched from above, waiting to see how big it would get before it burst. When it did, she felt awesome, satisfied finally, then exhausted. But she didn't tell her psychologist any of this. Instead, she sits there not talking, just waiting for this to be over. And finally, the psychologist sighs and stands up and says, "That's all we have time for today." How could she share what it felt like to cut? Why does she cut? Now, the fourth book I'm planning to talk about is called Small Damages by Beth Kephart. Kinsey is 18 years old and pregnant. Her mother has a plan to take care of that. She forces Kinsey to go to Spain to a ranch run by family friends to have her baby. After she has the baby, she is supposed to give it up to a couple who want to adopt it in Spain. Her mother expects her to come home with no baby and be able to resume her life, having fixed the worst mistake she has ever made. But Kinsey does not want to follow her mother's plan. She is angry with her mother because of how fast her mother seemed to have gotten over her father's death. She is angry with her boyfriend Kevin. He is able to move on while she has to make all the big decisions. He can go to college and continue with his life without any interruption. Kinsey does not know what she wants to do with the baby. She remembers what she learned from health class and can't help but picture how the baby has fingernails. She keeps seeing how the baby looks inside of her at each stage of pregnancy. Knowing all this, she is having a difficult time letting go. She finds support from an unexpected place, Estella the cook. When she first met Estella, she did not like her because she thought Estella was mean. Her feelings start to soften toward Estella when she realizes how much Estella cares for her. She is able to share her confusion with Estella about giving up her baby. Estella is able to share with Kinsey her own regrets about the choices she had to make in her life. Will Kinsey decide if she wants to keep her baby or let her go? And can she tell her mother what she really wants? Now, the fifth book I'm planning to talk about today is called Somebody Up There Hates You by Hollis Seamon. Let me tell you one thing about this particular hospice. Picture this, right in front of the elevator that spits people into our little hospice home, there is a harpist. No joke, right there in our lobby, every damn day, this old lady with white hair and weird long skirts sits by a honking huge harp and streams her heart out. Or plucks, whatever. How weird is that? I mean, isn't that a little bit premature? Hey, we're not dead yet, but it's pretty amusing at times in its own strange way, this whole harp thing. I can sit there in my wheelchair on a good day and watch people get off the elevator. They're here to visit their dying somebody, and they walk right into our lobby, and the music hits them, and they sort of stumble and wobble, go pale. They have got to be thinking just for a second that they skipped right over the whole death and funeral mess and gone straight to heaven. Most of them back up at least 3 steps, and some of them press the elevator button or claw at its closed doors trying to escape. It's easy to read their minds. They're not the ones dying, right? So why are they here? How'd they end up in Heartland? It freaks them out, and I just have to laugh. The nurses tell me that harp music is soothing and spiritual and good for the patients. Okay, I say fine. Maybe for the 95% of the patients who are ancient, like 60 and above. It's good, but what about me? Or Sylvie? Me and Sylvie, I say, we're kids, we're teenagers, and we're dying too. And what about our rights? Okay, that's kind of harsh, I admit, because the nurses really are sort of cool. And they get all teary when I say that because no one wants to think about kids dying. But we are, so I say deal with it. Everybody dies, do's and do's-ats. That's the name of the game. Dying is pretty boring if you get right down to it. It's the living that's actually interesting. A whole lot more than I ever would imagine when I first got tossed in here kicking and cursing. Obviously, I'm way too young to be here, so what's the story about how I got here? And what am I going to do while I'm still here? Alright, that's the last book for today that I'm presenting. Thank you for your attention. Hopefully you liked the books I presented and you might want to read one of them. Thank you.